In this video, I want to talk to you about how to source your products. And I'm going to start by giving you an overview of the whole process. Now, clearly, you're going to need to identify a supplier or suppliers who can produce the product that you want to sell. And once you've identified them, and I'll show you where you can go to find these suppliers in a later video, but once you've identified them, you need to reach out to them and discuss with them whether they can meet your requirements. And I recommend that you do this either by telephone or by email. And clearly, depending on where the supplier is, then one will be better over the other. So if the supplier is, for instance, in the US, I would recommend a telephone. If they're in China, I think you'll probably find that sending emails is the better way of doing it. So you'll need to reach out to them. And one of the key questions to ask is, can they white label your product? And by this, I mean, can they put your design and labeling and branding on the product so that you can sell your product in the Amazon marketplace as a unique product, which is the core of the strategy to differentiate yourself away from the crowd. Clearly, you'll want to know how much it's going to cost. And along with that, it's important to understand what their minimum order quantity is. Because when you start off, you'll want to start off with a small order and not have to buy thousands and thousands of things, because if it doesn't work, you don't want to be stuck with masses of money tied up in excess stock which you can't sell. So it's better to be cautious to start off with. And at the same time, understand what their pricing tiers are, because they will give you a different cost per unit if you buy a lot as compared to buying a few. But as I say, it's better to start off with paying a bit more for each item that you're going to sell, and to make sure that you can build it up gradually rather than just jumping in because you can get the cheapest price if you buy 10,000 of them. You will want to see a sample of the product. Do not, whatever you do, get started without actually doing some real quality and beta testing on the product that you want to sell, because if it's not up to the right quality, you're going to have awful problems. But you may actually want to do one or two things to it to improve it. And you'll need to speak to them about this. So you definitely want to get a sample. They will probably expect you to pay for that, which is fine. And you'll possibly be able to negotiate that you'll be able to get the cost of that taken off the initial order when you place it. You'll want to know the time frames involved, how long it's going to take to get you the sample, how long it's going to take to manufacture and get everything shipped across. And one key question is, do they ship directly to Amazon in the US? Because we are going to be focusing on the US Amazon.com. If they don't, then you're going to have to look at some sort of freight forwarding arrangement or something to get the products from the port of entry through back to whichever depot Amazon decide they want you to ship to. So you'll then need to understand what the process is for getting set up as a customer with them. And this invariably is going to involve some paperwork. You'll need to understand how they'll want to be paid. And it's unlikely that they're going to take PayPal. It's probably going to have to be by credit card or Visa card. You'll then need to get your branding agreed and set up. Now, this branding may be something that they can help you with. Or alternatively, you may have to get the branding and the labeling produced by a separate supplier of that particular materials, the labels and what have you, and get those labels sent over to the manufacturer, who will then put them on the package. So just keeping the big picture in mind, you need to build up a good understanding of what the whole time frame of this is going to be, from your initial point of contact to when they actually get the goods into the Amazon warehouse and you can go live. And this could be on the critical path for you, because if it's going to be a very, very long time, you may prefer to use a different supplier. Now, I reiterate, at the end of the day, you probably only need one supplier. But in order to get the best deal and to get the best product, it's well worthwhile contacting more than one and working with several to get the right quality product at the right price, just how you want it. Now, if they're a US supplier, that's going to be easier, but it may be better to work with a Chinese supplier because you're likely to get better pricing. As I said earlier, payment may be an issue. They may only take credit cards or debit cards, unlikely to take a Visa, or they may want a bank transfer or some sort of draft like that. It's also very unlikely that they're going to give you credit terms, at least until you're established as a good customer. So I recommend that you contact a number of different suppliers and you create a spreadsheet with all the details in it. So you'll be able to compare apples with apples, compare one supplier to another and make sure you're getting the right supplier. But at the end of the day, I do emphasize that the first criteria you should be driving on is the quality of your product and getting the product right. And then the second criteria is getting the pricing right. And be prepared to work a bit harder and ship from China, because in the long term, if it's a materially different margin for you, then you could be giving away an awful lot of money, or alternatively making a lot of money by working that extra bit harder. So that's it, an introduction to how to source your products, an overview. I want to get at the framework of what we're going to be discussing in this section in your minds. I hope you found that helpful, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon in another video.